Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and we're just a couple days away from the release of BT13 here in North America, and I'm really excited for it. There's a couple of different archetypes that I want to test out a little bit more and can't wait to have my hands on, as well as a lot of support for older stuff, especially just kind of since this is like the Royal Knight set, and we've already had a lot of them come out already. So I think it's really interesting. I think this set is really, really cool of how it's done, and again, I'm just really excited to kind of go on into it. So for this tier list, we have 5 basic tiers. We have highly competitive, which means I would expect it to win a large event, or at least top a lot of the times. Competitive is I would expect it to top events and wouldn't be too surprised if it got a win. There's also highly playable, which it could get a top, but I wouldn't be expecting it to get a win. And then playable is maybe a top, but I don't think it's very, very good there. And then bad is just, I don't expect it to be, I expect people to sleeve this up for a tournament kind of thing. So these are, again, my opinions. We do have, obviously, the Japanese meta to go off of. We do have a couple differences with the restriction list, as well as just card availabilities as well, including we get the ace cards a little bit earlier than they did, kind of. They got it kind of towards the end of the format, as well as we don't have the training promos. That's going to be BT14 for us. And I believe they were in the rotation for Japan for their meta, so that's going to make a little bit of a difference for it. I think some decks definitely got a little bit better because of those, and that's going to make the difference there. So, but we're going to start off with the newer archetypes, at least kind of archetypes that are got a good amount of support in this new set, and then also just kind of going over some old ones. And if I didn't mention a deck list, I think it's probably highly playable or below. I pretty much just grabbed all the archetypes that were already topping in BT12 and EX4 format, and then added a couple more that I thought were good, and then all of the new ones. So if there's anything I'm missing, it's probably highly playable below. But let me know in the comments if there's one that I missed or you guys want some opinion on, and I'll let you guys know. But we're going to start off pretty fast with the highly competitive. We're going to put our boy Shine Gray in there. I think that's going to be just a really good deck in a lot of ways. There's been so much support, like the fact that this got 3 full lines and 3 sets in a row means they really want people to play this deck, and they've been trying for the last 2, but this is finally, I think, the set that's going to get the support that they want for it. So very, very strong in its own right. I think it's a great deck, and there's a lot of kind of neat ways how you can work with it. I don't think it's 100%. I don't think it's like a tier 0 yet. I think a lot of people will be on it, and it's very strong, but I don't think it's overwhelming too much. We'll see if that's true, but a really, really strong deck there. So then we have Jasmon, which did get a full new line in this one too, and I think we want to put this probably highly playable. We'll see. I like Jasmon and Galgamon, which is right here. I always feel like I judge them a little bit too hard, but they just are so glass cannony. They just don't really have a comeback mechanic. Sometimes they do just OTK blow you out, but other times they just like brick in their hands, and you just have a hard time like doing anything with it. Like if you get rid of their first stack, they're just kind of lose, and they're dead in the water because they have to go all the way back up their stack again. So we're going to put it there. We're going to see if that's right and kind of go from there. And then Mirage Galgamon, we're going to put this in competitive for right now. I think it's in a good spot. I think it's probably better than Ulforce and kind of does a lot of the same stuff for it. But there is some cool stuff. This is, it did get a new like Burst Digivolve as well. And we're just going to put that there. We're going to see if that's true. I think it's neat. We've obviously had a lot of Galgamon lines in the past couple sets. They haven't really done a lot. We have seen like the Mirage Galgamon like teched in a couple blue decks, just like as a top end. But we'll see if its own dedicated line is finally going to be doing something. But I think it will. I think a lot of people will be testing it out and finding some success with that. Next, Kantarismon. We're probably going to put this in the highly playable side. It's an interesting deck in its own right. It's obviously, a lot of these are Royal Knights, which will go into their own kind of archetype there too. But it has like the tame recursion and just kind of everything else. So there's some cool stuff with it. I haven't had a lot of time with it. I think it can do well. I just haven't seen it do super well personally. So this one I could be wrong on 100%, but we'll have to see. Next we have like the knight, like the chess archetype, and we're going to put this in unfortunately bad. It's neat. It's really, really neat. It's super neat. Maybe I'm going to rename it as neat, the neat category. But yeah, it's neat. I don't really know what to say. It's cool that they kind of have like the idea of chess in the game for it, but I don't really see anyone play this deck competitively in any way, and I think it kind of just hangs out there. So we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna see if that's where it is. And then we do have like the Rosemont deck right here, and this one's really interesting in a lot of ways. I think it's gonna we'll leave it competitive. Maybe I'm being a little bit too generous with it. But we just have a lot of like good green support and like a backline for it. So I think it can be very good. We'll see if that ends up being the case. We're going to leave it there. Then we have like the Sukamon stuff. We're going to put it right next to neat. I think the yellow and black stuff both are just in neat spots right now. We'll see if that continues, but we're going to leave it there. Ravemon, I'm probably going to be a little bit generous on this one too, but we're going to put it in competitive. It's neat. It has some hand destruction stuff, which I like, right? And I think that can be exploited. So we're gonna look at that there. We're gonna see if that does anything for it, and we'll go there. And then we have the Belphimon. I'm gonna put this in highly competitive. It's also one thing, like I don't want to sound like a broken record, but there's a lot of kind of unique ways that you can play the game with a lot of these cool like newer archetypes, which is really nice. And the fact that a lot of these feel very unique is interesting too, and I think it's just really healthy for the game too. So Belphimon is definitely that. We have like the sleeping one, and then we kind of like awaken, and they can do like a lot of attacks, and then sleep again, and then like get some like control aspects, and like it can do stuff with cards stuck in your hand, and has like a weird way to like divert digivolving. It's a really interesting, unique deck. I'll probably make a video on it as well, but it's in a weird, it's a good spot though. I think it's competitive in its own right, so, or highly competitive. So we're going to put that there. And then our last one of the newer archetype, we do have the Royal Knights one, and we're going to definitely make a video on this one. It's very, very unique as well. I need better adjectives, but the fact that you get to have like this just is its own mechanic, right? You have to use it like in the like it's in your raising area, and then you get like the effects based on it being in the raising area, and then like you can hard play Digimon. So it's really, there's a lot of weird things you can do with this deck, and I think there's a lot of power in just based on, there's just so many decks that divert the ways that you're supposed to play Digimon, and so I think this is one that's doing that in a strong enough way that it can kind of overcome it. So we're going to put it there, and we're going to see a lot of it. So all right, those are the kind of newer archetypes. My ideas, like it's pretty much just Jasmon's the only one that we put there, but I think we'll see if people are able to find some success with it. We do again have a new line with it. I don't know, I've been burned by Jasmon so many times before. So all right, going on into the other kind of older archetypes as well. We have like WarGreymon, which I think is probably competitive. We're gonna like, where's Black WarGreymon? Here it is, right next to it. I have such a hard time defining between like both of these. They're very similar in a lot of ways. This is like a rarity where we have like a new set where we don't have like a lot of inherent support for either of these decks, which is really interesting. So I think they're fine. I think they're still doing a lot of great stuff. I believe Black WarGrey X was still legal at 4 when this meta came out, so that could make a difference for how we're seeing here, but we're going to leave these in competitive, and we're going to see if that's true. Crossheart, we're going to just kind of leave in highly playable. It hasn't gotten support in a while either, and it hasn't been seeing a lot of play here in North America either. I still think the deck is pretty good. I think a lot of people have been on Hunters instead, which is fine. I think Hunters is a very competitive deck, and but this is it's still good if you want to play. It's just it's the same old deck. There's not a lot of support there. So Red Hybrid as well. We'll probably leave in highly playable. This could be still have all the aggression that you're used to in a lot of ways, but I think it's fine for what it is. We'll see if that, I don't know. It's just a red aggressive deck. Then we have Galgamon. We're going to put this in playable. It did get like a new secret rare, which kind of works with the stuff it does, but not a lot. But it is really neat in what it does, and you can get like a Russian Blitz with it, which is kind of cool. But like the fact that you can hard play it outside of its own archetype for moderately cheap is good. So it's okay. It's okay for what it does. You're already in a deck that already has a lot of level 6s that you kind of have to pick and choose for, but this one I think is a goodie, and can help you like get back after they kind of blow up your first stack, which is cool. So we're gonna leave it playable though. Yeah, we're gonna leave it here. We'll see if it. This one I could be 100% wrong. You guys can call me on the comments saying that Galgamon is going to be good, and I'd probably believe you. So I'm going to leave that there. Blue Flare we're going to probably put in competitive. I think it's strong 100% for all the support from EX4. There's a lot of ways it can do just be very strong. So we're going to leave that there. All Force probably going to put in highly playable. I think Mirage Galgamon is better in the slot, so leave that there. Security Control, We have been seeing it rise a little bit. We're gonna keep it in highly playable. There's not a lot. You get there's like a couple new techs that you get, especially some of them that we got from EX4 as well. So we're just gonna leave it there. There's just been like more and more burn damage, right? Which kind of affects how good this deck can be, but I think we're okay with that. Armor, we're going to put in highly playable. Yeah, I think we'll put this there. This is probably even putting it a little bit too high, but I like this deck a lot, and I've been enjoying it a lot too. So we're going to leave it there. There's obviously the new Magnum, which is fantastic, by the way, being able to like be a better armor purge in a lot of ways. So I do like the idea of that. The fact that it plays something means that if you have some on-play VMons, you get to use them again, and it gets around like some destruction that armor purge doesn't. So I just need to test out the deck more, but I think there's some cool lines you can do with it. Examon, you technically do have a new Examon, but I'm just going to kind of put it in playable. We'll see if anything happens with it, but I think it's still a little bit too clunky and bricky for what people want to do most of the time. Bloom Lord, we're going to put up here in competitive. I don't think anything's really changed with this guy. Still very good. We'll see if it's better than like Rosemont or not, but I think both these are probably pretty comparable in a lot of ways. Dark Knight, playable. I'm putting it on here just because I can. It did get the new EX4 support, and I think it did get a couple tools. I do have to say, I kind of didn't mention this as much, all the black and blue decks do get like a bit of inherent support, just the fact that you are able to do the Ace Digivolve in a lot of these decks. So Skull Knight is not an exception for that. You do get to do that, so there we go there. The Shin Draman we'll probably keep here in highly playable. It's a little bit slow for some of what this format gets to do, but again, once you get to your big boss monster, unless you're playing Hunters, you really don't have a really good way to get out of it, so I think that's solid. Alphamon I'm going to put in competitive. It might be a little bit optimistic for it, but we do finally have a new Doro Gray after the limit to 1, so I think that's going to be very impactful. And then I don't think that Hunters or BLZX are really going anywhere either. They're very strong for what they're doing. Obviously in Japan they did have like the full power, I think, for the entirety of this BT13 meta, which we got like a little limit to the Impmon and everything, but I think the deck is pretty good. But this is my tier list for this right now. This is a little bit, quick and dirty for it, but these are just my thoughts going on into this meta. If you have any decks that you guys think should be on this tier list that I didn't mention, please let me know. And anything that I ranked a little bit too high and a little bit too low, let me know as well. Probably the weakest ones that I could probably be convinced into, probably Ravimon, what else? Galgamon. I think Galgamon might be good. It's always been so hard to test with red aggro if it's strong enough or not. And I think everything else I'm moderately confident with. So, but that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, let me know what decks you guys are looking forward to in this format. And if you want any more deck lists, there are more coming down the way, I promise. And that is going to be it for me. So thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.